And welcome back to the Filmreelcast. It's the very last episode of Loki Season 1. And as usual, I'm joined by the wonderful, very lovely, and apparently extremely hot Neil. Neil, tell me why you're so hot, apart from the obvious reason.
Well, I'm sat in my wonderful conservatory because this is where I record things, but of course it's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's already 24 degrees outside. So I'm turning into a puddle as we speak.
You're sweating your big ones off at the moment.
Honestly, it's horrendous. So if all of a sudden I go quiet, it's probably because I've passed out.
If I ever bang on the floor, then that's it. Yeah. I'll carry a recording, mate, in the name of being professional, obviously.
Perfect.
Don't worry about that.
I wouldn't expect anything less from you. Thank you.
If you think you are going to fade, just give me your best bits, worst bits quickly. Just before you do. So this is episode 6. It's been a long journey. Again, it's kind of been an up and down case of, especially for me personally, of getting in, watching this, falling asleep, having to watch it in 2 or 3 parts, and then kind of having to talk about it. And it's the last one, and it seems to come around really quick. And it's just, I've watched this 3 times now, and each time, I think as my brain has understood what's happening, my opinions have changed. So it does take a while, people would know who've listened to various other podcasts. But yeah, for all time, always. There's a massive hint in the title of this. And what was your expectations of going into this last one, episode 6?
I was hoping there would be a massive finale, which of course there hasn't been, which is kind of disappointing. But yeah, I guess I was hoping, I really hoped there was going to be some massive battle or what have you, very MCU-like. But there wasn't. But I still enjoyed the episode, I have to say. I know that you, in our last podcast of Kill Bill, basically slated this, saying that you couldn't wait to finish it, and that upset me a little bit. But then you text me and said, I've changed my mind.
Yeah, so I've watched it numerous times, and because I think I watched it, and the trouble we've had with a lot of them is kind of, it's been so padded out of waffle, isn't it?
Yes.
And after working, you're fucking a whole day, and then you come in and listening to more waffle, you think, Christ, I need some action. I need something fast happening, explosions that keeps me on the edge of my seat. And sometimes waffle just isn't what I need.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I've struggled. But we were left where they were in the void, and they kind of beat Eliath, they enchanted Eliath to go to this citadel where the timekeeper was there. They didn't know who it was going to be, and Mobius was going to go back to the TVA, and in his words, he was going to burn it to the ground, which built up a huge episode, a really exciting, possibly explosive episode for number 6. So it's going to be good to see whether it's delivered on several different layers, and we do get the flashbacks. And before it starts, I really enjoyed the opening to this, where the Marvel comes up.
Yeah, it's different, wasn't it?
Oh, it was so good. The way they took all the different quotes from Cap, Iron Man, from Captain Marvel, it was just a brilliant, and obviously a Black Panther as well. It was just great to hear that.
Way to go, Tic Tac!
That's how you punch.
Wakanda forever!
You wouldn't have heard of me.
Let me put you on hold.
Dance off, bro! He's a friend from work!
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
I'll show you ferocity.
Higher, further, faster, baby.
We have a hot wreck.
We're gonna jump on that spaceship and get out of here. I wanna cook.
Take it, because when they showed or played that, you went through the universe, and it was like looking through the Hubble telescope of a supernova of stars being born and universes and that. And that's what they were doing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting the normal sort of, Marvel intro, but it was, it blew me away. It was quite very clever, very well thought out, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was lovely, and a kind of nice homage, because you had the music that played when Cap was dancing with Peggy, and it was just really, really nice. And having just watched Black Widow, she's gone, Cap's gone, Iron Man's gone, and obviously Black Panther as well, sadly. that it was just a kind of a nice tribute to them in a way, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it was a nice touch.
Yeah, they did that all the
it was
time.
in this.
I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
strange that it was in this. Maybe because it's the multiverse thing. I don't know.
That's what all I got was.
Yeah.
It was kind of, as they were doing that, they were showing the whole universe as it was, and I thought it was a really, really good touch, really clever. But and you do get Sylvie and Loki, and at the moment they're a strong team. They're clearly, even though they haven't expressed their feelings fully, they're clearly in love with each other, and they've got each other's back, and they're kind of like there is a plan for them to kind of be together after this, isn't there?
Yeah, I think that's what they were hoping to be. They wanted to be together afterwards, definitely.
Yeah, and obviously this will contain spoilers, and so if anyone hasn't seen this, I suggest go and see it because we will spoil it for you. So, when they get into this building, it's really, really old. It appears to be abandoned, and you do get like the little kind of orange clock time guide come in.
Yeah.
And in this one, I found these clocks normally to be quite happy, but this one appears really sinister with regards to what it says. It gives an ultimatum, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It's odd. It's almost like it's far more involved than you think it is. Like when it's, like you say, it was really nice and happy and jovial around the TVA, sort of teaching him about things and stuff like that. But now she's turned really sinister because she clearly is very close to the one who remains.
Yes, and that's really interesting. And even when you look on the IMDb and things like that, that the timekeeper or whoever they kind of choose to call it at this point is called the one who remains. And kind of, again, spoilers, looking at this, I think, and that this person is called Kang from the comics.
Yes, this is what I've got from this as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of, when you do a bit of digging, it's kind of spoiled as well because Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, you see Jonathan Majors, who plays the Kang the Conqueror in it. And obviously Jonathan Majors plays the character, what did you just call him? The one who should be obeyed, or fucking whatever it was?
He who remains.
He who remains. That's my wife, the one who should be obeyed. I always get them confused. And it's Kang the Conqueror. So clearly, from what we're going to get out of this, that Kang is a quite a nasty villain who does involve time travel. So that's, I wonder why they didn't say that when it will be so apparent to people who watch this,
I don't know. I don't know why they didn't reveal it. Maybe they're doing that for season 2 or something like that. But yeah, normally they would say who they are, wouldn't they? But it's sort of, they've kept it aloof. So
yeah,
maybe to keep people talking, because like they do every episode, don't they? They do something to keep people guessing.
Yeah, I think people will look possibly and will check to see what's going on and who these people possibly could be, especially like fans who have really invested in the comic books, like more so ever than I have, would know who it is. And even on different podcasts listen to, they saying, well, this is clearly Kang. But so, and when the clock says that you can wake up tomorrow and just have a lifetime of happy memories, and it's sowing a seed in a certain way of, you can be on board with this and you can both be together, or the consequences are that you'll be separate, or you can be like Loki can be like a Time Lord and he can be in charge of everything.
You know how you got into this mess.
What?
The Battle of New York, silly. You versus those self-righteous Avengers. How would you like to win? But not just there. You can kill Thanos. You want the Infinity Gauntlet? Yours. Throne of Asgard? No problem. What about you, Missy? All those years on the run, desperate, alone. How would you like to wake up tomorrow with just a lifetime of happy memories?
And I think that's the biggest seed that's sown, because Loki is always someone who wants power every opportunity. And I like the fact that Sylvie can't trust anyone and Loki can't be trusted. That's just their character traits.
Yes.
And these two are never really, despite the amount they love each other, it's like a marriage to a certain extent. If they've got these character traits, they're never ever going to be able to trust each other, no matter the situation, because there's always going to be a what if. And that does play out in this really cleverly, I think.
No, it does. It's it ramps up quite quickly towards the end, doesn't it? How their relationship is, but they're still very much individuals, and they have to follow their own ideals.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that causes the consequences of the universe, the future films, Doctor Strange, and I say Ant-Man. But you go to, I was disappointed, I've got to be honest. You go to Renslayer's office, she's there, and the clock's there as well, and said she's asking for these files at the end of the time. He says, no, use these files. These are the files he wants you to have that will be useful. And again, she doesn't say who he is.
No.
And then you get Mobius turns up. And from his speech of saying, I'm going to burn it to the ground, I'm going to do this, I expected fireworks.
Oh, no.
And we got the opposite of fireworks, didn't we?
Yeah, it was just him talking again, trying to sort of turn around, and then they have a really shit fight.
I don't know. I think you're being so kind calling it a fight, I have to say. Really kind there.
No, that's fair enough, yeah. He gets beaten up really easily. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
There's nothing there, and I was really surprised and disappointed, because we know Owen Wilson's character. I know Owen Wilson, he plays, apart from Behind Enemy Lines, where he does with Gene Hackman, where he plays a soldier. He doesn't tend to play characters with any kind of bang behind them, any anger and aggression. No. And the way he challenged Renslayer and said that there is more to this, you're just being naive and you're a variant. And she stepped forward, and he had that tool to prune her. Bang, took it out of his hand. What are you going to do? I'm going to go and see the future. I'm going to go and see my destiny of what I want to see. Bang, she's gone. And she obviously will be back in further episodes, whether it's the MCU or whether it's season 2. But what a letdown. Where's the fireworks? Where's the threat? Where's the danger? There is nothing there, is there?
No. He's massively pushed out on it, hasn't he? It didn't make any sense. Yeah, I'm going to go and burn it to the ground. And he just basically has a chat, gets pushed over, and he just gives up straight away, and she walks through a portal door, and he's just left on the floor looking like an absolute mug. So I have to agree with you, to be honest. It was very disappointing, that side of it. The other side of it, though, was quite clever, wasn't it, with the Hunter B-15, because he's obviously spoken to her, and she's hatched this plan, hasn't she, to start turning people against the TVA and what they stand for. And I thought the way they did that was quite clever. Yeah,
and I missed the little hint on a pen. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, but as you say, Hunter B-15 goes to a high school, and he sees a pen that she's got with a high school on there. And then she comes out as the head teacher or the head of the school, not knowing anything about the TVA, proving the point that they are all normal people, and they've been kind of turned into variants. They are all variants from the TVA, which does prove a point. But where does that doesn't take us anywhere else? It doesn't really burn down the TVA, does it?
No, it certainly doesn't burn it down. But I guess it's just a clever way of starting to get people to realise who they are, rather than they've all believed they've been created for this purpose. So, though there wasn't much fireworks, which we all hoped there would be, this bit I liked. The bit with Mobius was crap, let's be fair, but I liked the way they sort of tried, because you had to think about it, didn't you? Because 2 of them Hunter B-15 and Mobius trying to take down the entire TVA is near on impossible.
Yeah.
So they had to think of a way of, how are we going to be able to do it? And they've done the intelligent route rather than the brute force, which would be how they would do it when you think about it, because there's no way that two of them could take everything down, especially Mobius being a massive pussy.
Obviously not mincing your words there, are you?
Well, he got beaten the fuck up, didn't he? Let's be fair. It was pathetic.
It was like stealing like the kind of wimp's lunch at school, isn't it? That you just trip them over and just take it and
give us your money. Okay.
I did like and the rest of this really, apart from when I look at the timelines branching off, just going completely insane, beyond control. The rest of it is at the Citadel. The rest of it is with who I'm going to call Kang, because I can't remember any other description for the guy. And I kind of got a real Matrix vibe from this, of when they do go and see the gatekeeper, and he does explain everything to Keanu Reeves and the reasons why different things happen.
Yeah.
And the only difference being, I actually understood what they say in Loki as to where I've watched Matrix so many times. And I still don't understand what the fuck the gatekeeper is talking about. Honestly, it does not make any sense whatsoever.
Oh, James has said he is going to explain it to us, though, hasn't he? So
he has, and we need to do the Matrix so James can explain it, because he could redeem everything. If he can explain this perfectly, I might not even take the piss out of him in wrestling, but I can't promise that, because
mate, don't ever. You can't promise that at all. No way.
No, I get great satisfaction from doing that.
Oh, you do. So do I, to be fair. You just hear his little heart break every time you do it.
It's fucking brilliant. I love it so much.
What did you think of let's call Kang? What did you think of him?
I was about to ask you that same question, which is really, really strange. First time I saw him, I was tired. I don't think I was in the mood for it. I didn't really like him, but I didn't know what to expect, as in who they'd have, and what kind of being would be the timekeeper. But I enjoyed the quirky nature of him. That he's so self-assured. He's so confident. He actually openly admits that he runs the timeline and he's under control of everything, and that in a certain way he's not being made to do it. He is in charge of everything.
Yeah.
And he acknowledges his own power of how powerful he is, and that I chose everything. And I like his character. He's so quirky and so different. What did you think?
Yeah, when I had similar opinion. I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh God, this is a bit weird. But then the more I thought about it, it's like, this guy's on his own all the time. He knows the future because he's seen it. And, he is quirky. You would be like that. And I like the fact that he wasn't like your normal tyrant villain, which he goes around saying how powerful he is and basically threatening and menacing. He was a different kind of menacing, in the sense of he didn't appear threatening whatsoever. Yeah. And I liked that. But,
definitely. It was the opposite of what you got with like Thanos, wasn't it?
Yes, and that's what I like. I like the fact it was different, rather than someone in a big chair, in a throne room or whatever, with his minions running around. He was just a bloke on his own that's running a timeline, and obviously explains it more later why he's doing what he's doing. But he's almost friendly with them, isn't he? And he's not aggressive at all.
No. Yeah, he's just explaining everything the way it is, but not in a way where he's kind of bigging himself up and saying, look, I decided to do this, I destroyed this person. It's purely in a case of, like, when he's explaining, which I think is brilliant the way they do it visually. This is made for me, for my brain. When he explains that years ago, and it's in a way, it's kind of is what they were told, how the TVA came around, and with regards to the battle of the universes, that he discovered himself, and they did share all this different information to improve their own planets, and through that they became kind of very hostile towards each other, and they took each other out until there was only one remaining. And it was really well visually done, and I love that little figure of Kang meeting Kang from another multiverse.
Oh, no.
And it was just such a good idea, and the fact that they're just normal people who are extremely clever. And he explains that all of the other Kangs, there's lots of other Kangs around who are being kept at bay, and they're a lot more evil, a lot more mad and sinister and just bizarre. And he's the gatekeeper keeping all of them at bay. And it's the unknown risk that I quite enjoy in this, and that's the kind of scruples that faces Sylvie and Loki, which is done really well, because he's not making any threat towards them. He's not twisting it. It's Loki and Sylvie who are doing it. That you can rule this if you take me out. No, it's you can. If you kill me, the others will come.
Yeah,
the other Kangs will come, and they're a lot more evil than us or me, and the universe will be in a lot more desperate state and will be controlled by just an infinite amount, which is really worrying. But Sylvie doesn't believe him, does she?
No, she doesn't believe him at all. You know, he basically says, doesn't he, I want to retire, I'll keep it as it is, you run it all, and then you can do it as you want, but I'll keep the other versions of me at bay, or kill me, and it's all hell breaks loose. And Sylvie just doesn't believe him at all, because obviously she was plucked as a child and was able to escape the TVA. But Loki, he sort of, considering who he is and the fact that he's the god of mischief and everything else, because his character arc has changed so much in this series, he doesn't believe him at all, does he?
No.
Or he believes him, completely. And he's really worried about what's going to happen.
Yeah. And Loki gets it straight away. And I mean, do you believe what Kang is saying, or do you think, because I didn't know whether Kang was someone who is stuck in that building and this is the only way he can get out, or whether he's actually given him a genuine warning. What did you think?
At this point, I didn't know. I was, it's because it's all been so devious from the beginning. You find out the TVA and all these innocent people that are being killed, and this weird planet where people are sent to just die to Alioth and stuff like that. So you think, is this just another trick because they've managed to get to where they are? But there again, he said, I know everything. I know that you're going to be here. You are here because I've made it so. So why would he lie? I was, at this point in it, I didn't know where it was going to go. I have to be honest.
And he even admits to weaponizing Alioth for his own gain to destroy everyone else. And you kind of think, why would he admit to something like that? Because you just wouldn't admit to that, would you?
Well, no, and I think that's the thing. He's being completely brutally honest, isn't he? Because he's fed up with being there. He's been there for probably thousands of years, and he just doesn't want to do it anymore. He's done, and he wants these two to take over, doesn't he? But the problem is Sylvie's hate.
Yeah, and he's got nothing to lose, has he?
No. Well, no. If he dies, he dies. He doesn't know anything about what happens in the future. If he carries on, then he has nothing to lose. You're completely right.
Yeah, and it's Sylvie's rage, which I think he clearly knows, because this is all played out anyway to a certain extent, and I like that. There are odds with this, and even they call it out, don't they? That you don't trust anyone, I can't be trusted. That is just the way the situation goes. So I think Loki's based upon feelings. As in, I'm hoping that your feelings towards me and mine towards you will then make it that you don't kill me, and that we can agree to work this out together. And clearly that isn't the case. And the fight they kind of have together is a very soft fight, isn't it? It's not really a fight. It's more of an argument with weapons, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. But that's been the thing throughout this, hasn't it? But yeah, no, they are just trying to argue. He's trying to convince Sylvie that killing him is the wrong thing to do, and she's just keeps telling him where he needs to die, and it doesn't really change anything whatsoever, does it? That she is not going to change her mind, and he hasn't got the ability to do that. Loki cannot change her mind as much as he wants to. There's no way.
No, exactly, and I do like the conversation. Again, I like the fact that every time Kang's talking, there is no threat. He's not begging for his life. He's not worried at any point. And I found it from where they're sitting by the lake earlier with Loki and Sylvie, the conversation they have, and the fact that Loki is virtually begging. He's crying. He's got tears in his eyes, wanting Sylvie to change her mind, but she's just full of rage. I mean, and understandably, she was taken away from her parents when she was younger, and she's had no childhood whatsoever thanks to Kang. So I fully understand and appreciate why, because she's wanted this moment all her life. And again, when Kang even calls out Sylvie saying, "You're a murderer, you're a killer," and she is. Great call out. I love that part.
Fantastic. Yeah, called her a hypocrite because she said, "Oh, you're a murderer," and he said, "You're a hypocrite. We're all villains here. We've all killed people." You know, he's no different to them. He's just done it on a larger scale, but he's done it for the purpose, a good purpose, if you like, according to him, because he's stopped other versions of him from killing everyone or doing worse things. So, yeah, I kind of like him. He's a villain, but he isn't. He's doing it for a good reason.
You could say that about Thanos, couldn't you? I always think this about Thanos as well. That I know Thanos obviously did kill loads of people, but his theory was overpopulation and planets are starving and there's greed. So if I rid planets of half the population, obviously he's not in a position to do that. That he shouldn't do that. He's got too much power. That planets are progressing, and in his mind there is food, and they can kind of start again. And he's seen that, and he believes that's true. Where you saw from Earth, where families were just obviously wiped out, and the place was in a right state. So it depends also on the defence you're on, whether that's true or not.
Well, yeah, that's it, isn't it? But you know, that's a single universe in the sense of he's going around destroying half of planets and stuff like that, and that's because he truly believes what he's doing is right. But there again, lots of maniacal people go around saying stuff, doing horrible things because they think it's the right thing to do. The difference between the two is that he's trying to stop a greater evil from happening, if you see what I mean, to multiple universes.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's even bigger, isn't it? It's even bigger than Thanos.
Oh yeah, it's huge. Yeah. In comparison, this is kind of the biggest, villain of all, isn't he? Really.
Yeah, that's how it comes across. He's so powerful, isn't it? It's almost, even though he's only a human, like you say, he's just flesh and blood. He's just extremely intelligent. But it's very clever. I like it. I didn't know much about Kang or any of that side of it, to be honest. Like I've always said, I've never been a massive MCU fan until the films that I got into because of you. And watching these series on Disney Plus, it's fantastic. You can see the lore behind it and how clever it actually is. So this Kang character, who I knew nothing about, but obviously seeing this, I looked into it a little bit more. And the mythology behind it is fantastic. It really is.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I've never heard of Kang before. It was only one of the podcasts I listened to that they were talking about it. And I thought, well, normally I don't dip in, but why not? This is the last one, and it's clearly going to be a major character. And the history, everything, it's just so well written and so well detailed. And what I also like is when throughout all of this, when Loki and Sylvie are talking to each other and trying to agree on what to do, he's in the background with his hands together as if he's watching like a love film on the television. It's so sweet because he's seen all of this, but it has got to a certain stage where it branches out so much that he can no longer guess what's happening. And that's the scary part, and I enjoy that, the fact that he even openly admits, I don't know what's going to happen now. I'm helpless. I know as much as you, and that's unusual for like the main baddie to admit such a weakness, but he does it, which is even scarier.
Yeah, no, definitely, because he says, everything's written here, and he's showing them basically the script of their life. But then he says, once this goes too far, I have no control over it anymore. So,
Yeah.
So, and he says, yeah, it is. And he says, you can kill me now, pretty much, because I can't stop you. Because that's what he could move around, couldn't he, to stop her killing him, because Sylvie's swinging for him like a crazy person for like a good part of it. And he knows what's going to happen. But from now on, and it's a really odd idea, isn't it? That's the way it is. But I liked it, I have to be honest.
Yeah, and Sylvie murders him. Kills him. She murders him. I mean, she looks him in the eye and stabs him in the chest. And to a certain extent, I think kind of like frees him of what's going on. Because he said, I'm too old to do this.
Yeah, well, like I say, he's been doing it for so long, probably thousands of years, trying to sort everything out and keep it as it is. But yeah, she sends Loki through a portal back to the TVA.
I was surprised. I was so surprised at that. I really didn't see that coming, that they kiss. And then he's thrown back to the TVA, and he sits there broken, dejected, knowing that he's lost. Yeah. And that Sylvie is, in his eyes, making the biggest mistake that will affect the whole entire universe.
Yeah, it's weird though, isn't it, when Sylvie's going up to Kang, and he's excited, isn't he?
Yeah, it's so strange.
It's so odd. He's just like really happy about the fact this is happening, sort of thing, and smiling.
Why do you think
away.
That is? Why?
Because he just wants to release. He's done with it. I've done this now. I've given you the choice, and you're making for once in your life, you're having your own choice.
Yeah, he does say "see you again," doesn't he, or "see you around."
Yeah.
And that is him done. And then you see out the window, you do see all the branches and the timelines just going absolutely crazy, and you see Hunter B-15 and Mobius back at the TVA looking at these timelines, and it's so clever. It's so clever the way this is done. And Loki has some kind of idea, we don't know what that is, and he rushes and he goes to see Mobius and Hunter B-15 talking, and he kind of openly admits this is what's happened, and the speech he gives, he's terrified of Kang, which is I've never seen Loki like this before, and to just the way he says it, that he's a huge part of the universe. This is what's going to happen, and it's brilliant what he says.
Yeah, oh no, definitely, it's fantastic. Going back, I think the only time he's ever looked this worried is when he was obviously fighting Thanos in the ship, obviously in Endgame, or the whatever it was, the one where he gets killed, because he knows that he can't do anything about it. Yeah, the speech that he does though, saying about different versions and there's going to be massive wars and stuff like that.
Have what you want. Yeah.
And it's and we've made a massive, terrible mistake and all this. And just the fact that Hunter B-15 and Mobius sat there going, what the hell are you talking about? What's going on?
Yeah.
And he doesn't like, he's looking at it and going, what aren't you getting, sort of thing. And then it turns, doesn't it? And instead of there being a statue of a timekeeper, it's a actual statue of Kang. So he's clearly in an alternate universe.
How clever is that? What a brilliant twist that is. The fact he's saying, who are you? Slow down. I take it you must be an agent. And he's looking at them. It's like an episode of The Twilight Zone of just all these people you recognise, and you're in a land of, and it's just changed. And again, I kind of got a vibe of Planet of the Apes, of when they see the Statue of Liberty, and everything's changed. And it was a really good ending. It must be just horrifying for Loki to realise that he's got to go through the whole thing again, explain who he is again.
Definitely.
how he's going to get out of this, I honestly don't know. And then the post-credit scenes is that there is a season 2, which kind of I expected something bigger at the post-credits, I have to say.
Yeah, there was not much on there at all, was there? Which is a bit strange, because normally, the last 3 episodes, though, isn't there? They haven't really done anything. So, yeah, there you go. But the director, apparently, of this, Kate Herron, says she's not doing the second season.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, she said that she only wanted to do 1. So I don't know who's going to direct the season 2.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why they made that choice then.
I don't know. I think she was just saying that she liked the idea of doing it, but she only wanted to do 1 season. So someone else will have to pick it up, and it'll be interesting to see if they take it in a slightly different direction or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's quite worrying, really, isn't it? I always worry when they do stuff like that because.
Yeah, hopefully the writers stay the same, and then it's just that. Yeah, because I liked it visually. I think it's been a nice series. I know we've had our issues with it in the sense of it's padded and the action scenes haven't been particularly well done in areas, but generally, on the whole, I've enjoyed it, to be honest. And I'm excited for the second season, and I didn't think you would be, but it sounds like you kind of are now.
Yeah, do you know, I'll admit, I was wrong. I was hasty, and I enjoyed this, and I thought it was a good ending, and it ended leaving me wanting more, and I want to find out what's going to happen to Loki. I must admit, I'm not really interested in Renslayer, and I want to know what's going to happen to whether that's going to come. But I don't know when the Ant-Man film's coming out or the Doctor Strange. I've not looked, to be honest, but what effect it will have on these films. But I was pleased with the ending, and having watched it again and again, I've enjoyed it more and more. But I think this could have been five episodes easy. I think I hope season 2 isn't padded out like season 1 is. I think if I had to kind of get it out of 10 for the whole thing, I'd probably give it maybe a 6.5 out of 10. I think.
Oh, blimey, that's quite low. But there again, I think you're right. I'd probably give it a good 7, maybe slightly higher than you, because I didn't mind the amount of dialogue as much.
Yeah.
I think as you. Yes, certain episodes, like the one on the planet where they're basically stuck, was so overly padded, and like we mentioned, it would have been nice if there was more like a side story of Mobius trying to find out where they were and stuff like that. It was all very just padded out, and it was fairly funny in areas, but it wasn't. And the action scene where they're dodging bits of building looked so fake. It was frustratingly bad. But in general, I liked it. I definitely recommend watching it. I think it's a series that you should watch if you like sort of the multiverse side of Marvel.
Do you think you need to watch this? Bearing in mind, it looks like all the MCU now with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and everything else is going to be kind of multiverse based. Do you think you need to watch this? Probably
not, because I don't. The good thing with Marvel stuff is you generally don't have to watch all of them to understand it. The films generally explain themselves in their own way, don't they?
Yeah, so, usually do.
Yeah, you could. Let's be fair. If you watch the entire MCU series of films, though they all interlink, if you just watch one of them, it's extremely enjoyable, and it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, which is explained very, very well. And I don't think watching this is a necessary part. It's enjoyable if you like that type of thing, but this isn't going to be for everyone, because a lot of people watched it because they want action, amazing weapons and all that type of stuff. This isn't about that at all. It's the complete opposite of that. Yeah, definitely. And I think if I'd have to highlight that to someone who was watching this, because I went into expecting that, to be honest.
And I think that's where I struggled, that it was so dialogue heavy. But having watched it and spoken about it, and I think the payoff at the end is worth it. And I think it needed to be. If it wasn't a good payoff at the end, it would have been just so disappointing. And I don't think I would have watched season 2, whereas I will.
Yeah, and I was worried actually that you might turn around and say that you wouldn't watch season 2, because I thought, oh, is that the end of Loki for Stu? But I'm pleased that it did end in a way that's kept you interested, because I think I would have watched it anyway, but maybe with an eye to, I'll give it a couple of episodes, then drop it, sort of thing. Whereas right now I want more. But yeah, no, I think you're right. You'd have to advise someone, because this is completely different to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which did have dialogue, but it was comedy and action, and the chemistry and everything was fantastic.
Yeah,
this is very different.
Oh yeah, and Falcon had its faults as well. I mean, that podcast is there to listen to. We've reviewed that, and go onto the YouTube channel and on all good podcasting platforms, and you can hear our reviews of that, and also my review of WandaVision as well, which on the YouTube channel. So, but this was different. I can't wait for you to watch WandaVision to hear what you think about that. I really enjoyed WandaVision.
I will watch it. I keep saying I will, and I keep sort of putting it off, but you keep telling me how good it is, so I will stop being a twat and watch it.
Like this, you need first episode good, second episode and then you need to give it a chance. You just need to, because it is payoff, and I enjoyed it, and I thought Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are brilliant in this. I think it's just so good. But
they're good characters in themselves, aren't they? I just didn't, when I don't know, I said it before, just the way the trailers and stuff like that, it just looked really odd, and I was like, well, I can get on with it.
It is meant to be odd. And there's a reason why it's odd. So that's the payoff for it. But yeah, definitely. But so that ends our podcasting on Saturdays for a while, doesn't it? Even though it's Sunday today.
But yeah, well, it's been a bit of a strange weekend, isn't it? But there you go. I mean, it is a shame. It's a shame it's over, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm just looking to see what's sort of coming up next, because there's obviously a plan for multiple things, isn't there? So we've got the cartoon, which is coming up, called What If, which is scheduled.
Brilliant. So good. Have you seen any of those at all?
No, not yet. No.
Oh my Lord.
What's that on? Is that on Disney as well?
I'm hoping that will be on Disney. I really, really hope. That is going to be so much. We'll have to do those.
Oh, definitely.
That looks so much fun. Honestly, it really does look a hell of a lot of fun.
I like animation stuff anyway, as you know. So you know, I'm very interested in watching that. So we'll definitely do that. But there's lots of different ones coming up, isn't there? Apparently. So
yeah, there is. Yeah, and you got Shang-Chi coming out. And that's in September, which again, a character I don't know a lot about. So you got Eternals November. Again, I don't know a lot about Eternals. And you got Spider-Man.
Yes.
No Way Home in December. So it's, because from having nothing, it's going to be a big year, really, isn't it? So, and I think it's August, isn't it? The What Ifs, is that right?
I think it's August, yeah. But what have we got? Yeah, so September is Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings. Then Eternals is November, apparently. Spider-Man, the next one, is December. Then you've got your Doctor Strange is the Multiverse of Madness is next March.
Yeah.
And then there's a new Thor. Then there's Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, that's going to be tricky, isn't it?
About Chadwick Boseman, it's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
You'd hope. I know this sounds really bad, but you'd hope they would have just sort of retired that one, because of obviously his sad passing. I don't really want to see anyone else play him.
No, it'd be. I don't know. I loved Michael B. Jordan, and I thought he's such a good actor. He's so good. He's such a presence, and I was kind of gutted. Like, is he going to have died? And he hasn't kind of announced anything, or he's hinted a few things or what he'd like. But I'd be happy if Michael B. Jordan carried the mantle.
Right,
And
okay.
honestly, because I really like him, but you can never replace Boseman. He was so good, so good.
He was brilliant. He was natural as that role, wasn't he? So
it's going to be interesting, having seen Black Widow, when you've got Hawkeye, the series.
Yeah, that's coming out as well. Yeah.
How that plays, because when you've poor old Jeremy Renner is one of the characters who you think, why didn't you just jump over that cliff? You know, I know you wanted to, but everyone I've spoken to has said if he would have died, I wouldn't have been like bothered about it.
Oh no, definitely.
It's gutting, and I mean, you haven't seen Black Widow yet, have you?
No, I haven't yet. No, I haven't had the chance.
So but it's going to be linked to the Black Widow film, I think, to a certain extent, as to what direction it's going to go in. And certainly the post-credit scene as well is going to steer it in that direction. So it's well worth watching the film and stand around for the one post-credit scene. That's all there is, even though people leave the cinema, which makes me so angry. I feel like standing up saying, stay, there's a post-credit scene, it's Marvel, what are you doing walking out?
Yeah, that's true.
They still do it. So it's going to be strange not doing 2 podcasts a week, but we have got Caliber coming up, a film Paul has wanted to do, that we've organised and arranged to do it, and then it hasn't happened this week. It's much to your dismay, it is happening.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
It's going to be an interesting podcast. It's going to be a divisive podcast, definitely, folks, and one that I would not miss, because we're not going to agree on this film, and that's one thing for sure, and we're going to fight our own corners on this, so definitely.
That's fair enough.
If you haven't subscribed, why not do subscribe? And we do get 40,000 listens, downloads, or whatever you want to call it. And thank you to everyone. We say it all the time, don't we? And we are so grateful. But subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's what I'm going to say. You're sitting there on the train, on the bus, at home. Go over to YouTube, Filmreelcast, and subscribe. And then you won't miss anything. But thanks,
and you
everyone.
Get to see Stu's face. So that's
yes,
what
really
I'm
a reason
subscribing
not
for.
to. Jesus.
No, it's the reason to do it.
I have lost 2.5 stone since doing that. So
you need to do some more videos then, so people can see.
I've improved, honestly. So
there's no way to improve on perfection.
You're too kind. You're too kind. The envelope's on its way to you. So, but as usual, thank you everyone for listening. Let us know what you thought about Loki, good or bad. Season 2, everything. It's really, really good fun, and we love doing this. And we will be back for a very divisive Caliber podcast. Whatever you're doing, take care, have fun, and we'll be back very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.